A machine learning portfolio is the new resume. It's pretty much a substitute for real-world experience. But right now, your projects are either useless filler or you're simply just not taking them seriously. And that's exactly why you're not landing any interviews. So in this video, I'll break down the exact types of projects that top-tier companies actually look for, so you can stop sending dead-end applications and actually start scheduling interviews. Let's get into it. The absolute baseline for your portfolio is to have 3 to 5 simple or easy projects. This will not necessarily move the needle when it comes to getting hired, but it will add some initial weight to your portfolio. Think of these simple or easy projects as the so-called warm-up sets or reps in the gym. They are not the heavy lifting that will build you muscle, but they establish the fundamental movements, mechanics, and just general discipline that is required when you take the next few steps, like a deadlift or a bench press, for example. And that's exactly what these simple or easy projects are. They are designed to get your hands dirty, feet wet, with understanding how to build projects, and from that baseline you can then build more complicated projects, which I'll discuss in a second. These easy projects are also for optics because they make your GitHub, LinkedIn, even resume look active and well populated, which is something that hiring managers and recruiters really want to see. However, even though these projects are easy, do take about a month or two to build them out and make sure they are of sufficient quality, not something that is just quickly or randomly produced using ChatGPT. If you want some inspiration, then in the description below, I've linked a repo that I built over 5 years ago when I was first trying to land a data science job. It contains about 5 easy projects, which I got from like a simple Kaggle dataset, and then I built a variety of algorithms to solve different problems like classification, regression, neural networks, decision trees. It's just a wide variety of algorithms and projects I was building, again, just to get my hands a little bit dirty. One thing I will say though is that these projects are slightly subpar on today's standards. That's simply because over the past 5 years, the competition has grown. So while these projects were good when I made them 5 years ago, I don't recommend you take the exact same process I did. These projects are a little bit too simple nowadays, but they still serve as a good illustration of what you should be aiming to build. Let me break down the criteria for what these simple projects should look like. The first one is aim to use a variety of algorithms. Use a neural network, use a gradient booster tree, use some clustering algorithms like DBScan. Just have a variety of algorithms that you use in this small 5 projects that you're going to build. The second point is aim to use novel data. Real world data is messy and is not clean. So don't use Kaggle datasets like I did. Look for data on websites, or like surf the web to get your own data, use API calls, just whatever it is. The reason you want to use kind of more realistic data is that that's exactly what the real world is, right? And companies will be more impressed if you know how to deal with messy, dirty data than a clean data set from Kaggle. So novel data is really recommended for these small projects. And the third point is make it personal. Any project that is personal or that is something you are interested in and you can display that passion is way better, because when it comes to interviews or even building this thing, you will have a lot more charisma because you're passionate about it during the interview, and you'll be a lot more motivated to actually do the project because it's something that you are interested in. So for any project that you ever build, I always recommend you have some sort of personal element in it, because it will give it that extra spark that will really help you like in every step of your data science journey. If you are really struggling to think of project ideas, then I recommend you check out DataCamp, who are kindly sponsoring this video. I've literally been recommending DataCamp for years to the people around me. And what I personally recommend you check out is their project specific section. This has over 100 different projects on a variety of areas like hypothesis testing, explanatory data analysis, supervised learning, RAG, and even clustering algorithms. And you can use a variety of tools to build these projects like Python, SQL, and R. So whatever you're looking to build a project around, I guarantee that they have it. The projects are also rated from beginner to advanced, so there is literally something for everyone. And they are all built inside DataCamp's coding environment, so you don't need to worry about any of that external or extra setup that can slow you down. What I like most about DataCamp's projects is that they come in two different versions, guided and unguided. This helps you think, build, and create independently, which is the exact skills you should be looking to develop. However, if you do get stuck, you won't be stuck for too long and waste too much time, and you can use the guide and hints to help you along. Every project you build can be downloaded onto your personal portfolio or GitHub, so you can quickly start populating those things like I said earlier. If this sounds interesting, I'll leave all of it linked in the description below for you to check out. If you want to work in machine learning, then you need to know how to deploy your algorithm end to end. A model in a Jupyter notebook has zero business value. You have probably heard me say this a lot of times, and you have probably heard this saying from other practitioners in the field. And the reason you hear it a lot is that because it's so true. Having the most sophisticated, fanciest, state-of-the-art transformer model means absolutely nothing if it's not making real-time decisions or predictions. Companies and hiring managers know this. And frankly, they don't really care what type of model you build. All they really care is that is it business impactful, and ultimately, is it generating profit or creating more profit for the business? I know that may seem a bit reductive, but it is just a cold hard truth. So you want to showcase to potential employers that you know how to build a model and deploy it end to end. To showcase this, you should have at least one end-to-end project that follows the following steps. Number 1, data storage and collection. Number 2, data pre-processing. Number 3, model training and evaluation. Number 4, model deployment via API, VPS, or some form of self-hosting. And number 5, analysis and presentation of your results. That is basically in 5 points a full end-to-end project, and is exactly the processes that we work in real life. And I can speak that from first-hand experience as a machine learning engineer. To be honest, this type of end-to-end project is normally the hardest for beginners to build because it does require quite a lot of upskilling, particularly on the software engineering aspects. Some of the things that you will need to learn are containerization through things like Docker and Kubernetes, CI/CD pipelines and platforms like CircleCI, version control using Git, quality written code with unit tests, linting, formatting, and strict typing, cloud platforms like AWS, GCP, and Azure, database softwares like Supabase, workflow orchestration tools like Airflow, Argo, and Metaflow, and experiment tracking tools like MLflow or Weights and Biases. Now, what I don't want you to do is feel incredibly intimidated and overwhelmed by that list. The project that you will build will not necessarily use everything I just listed. The point is, you should have an idea for something that's a personal project, think of how you can use machine learning to solve it, and then just build it slowly and have an idea of how you want to deploy it and present your results. And when you come to those stages, then learn the necessary information. It's much better to learn as you go along than try to learn everything and realize that half the stuff you learned you don't need. If you want a guide or inspiration about how to build a full end-to-end project, then I recommend my old video linked on screen here, which is a project that I built about 2 weeks ago, which is a full end-to-end project where I forecast stock prices and then I optimize those stock prices using modern portfolio theory. And this project is kind of hosted on Supabase using Hostinger, and it has a lot of the key elements I just mentioned a few minutes ago. So I recommend you check out that video if you want to see exactly what an end-to-end machine learning project looks like. And I'm hoping it will give you some ideas, or if not, just copy the tools I used and just tailor it to your own project. The point is just start, and then eventually you will learn, and then you'll just become better at building your own projects. I often recommend that people add some sort of research element into their portfolio. The first way, and in my opinion probably the best way, is to re-implement a research paper from scratch. You will learn so much from this process. For example, you'll understand complex maths associated with cutting-edge models, implement sophisticated models from scratch or using simple libraries, to think creatively and apply your own knowledge to new ideas, improve your understanding of current trends in the field, and what the top researchers are doing. But to be honest, the best part is that 99% of candidates are not doing this. And I can tell you that from reviewing hundreds, if not 300s of resumes in data science and machine learning. Some useful websites to find papers is number 1, Hugging Face, number 2, ML Papers of the Week, and number 3, good old arXiv. Don't get it wrong though. Re-implementing a research paper is very hard. I've tried it in the past a few times and I still couldn't get it to be 100% correct. But the point is, I learned so much during that process that the whole experience was simply invaluable. Another way to add research into your portfolio is through reading and distilling research papers, either on your own blog or even starting something like a journal club. A journal club was exactly what I set up at my previous company, and it was extremely beneficial. I presented papers like Alpha Tensor, discovering faster matrix multiplication algorithms with reinforcement learning, grokking, generalization beyond overfitting on small algorithmic datasets, Meta's Cicero, human-level play in the game of diplomacy by combining language models with strategic reasoning, and neural networks are decision trees. As you can tell, that's quite a wide variety and wide field of papers I presented, but it taught me how to really digest complicated maths and complicated ideas into an hour presentation that other people can understand. That skill is tremendous, and in fact, it's actually very sought after in data science and machine learning roles. And like I said, hiring managers and companies know this. In fact, many interviews are exactly you trying to break down a machine learning problem into layman terms. So by practicing this skill and adding it on your portfolio, you're already, 1, showing that you can do this, and 2, you're practicing for any interview that requires you to follow that exact process. Now, I am aware that probably most of you do not work at a company where you can set up some sort of journal club. If that's the case, then I recommend you join some sort of online community, Discord groups. There's literally so many out there. The one I recommend is Yannick Kilcher's Discord community or group. If you don't know who he is, he's a YouTuber, machine learning researcher, and machine learning engineer. And on his channel, he does pretty much just paper breakdowns, and they're so well done. He's clearly much smarter than me and much smarter than many people I have met in the field. And like I said, it's just a community or group where they discuss latest papers and they explain them in more layman's terms. So I recommend you join that if that's something that you're interested in. Writing technical articles is probably one of the most highest leverage things you can do in your career. And most people think that your technical articles need to be groundbreaking. What if I told you that that is simply an excuse, and your blog can just be regurgitated information explained in your own way? In fact, that is exactly what my Medium blog was for the first 3 years. I started off posting on Medium back in October 2021, and it was purely for myself to develop my skills, learn new information, and basically by writing, you're kind of just using the Feynman technique to teach other people, but also better explain the concepts to yourself. And I've written to this day over 200 technical articles, and I think nearly over 60 career-based advice articles. But I started purely from the technical articles, and those technical articles were only for myself. They were for no one else. They were a means for me to learn and develop. I wasn't trying to get views. I wasn't trying to get any money or anything like that. Those technical articles were solely for myself. But the amount of stuff I learned from writing is just amazing. And I still use all that information nowadays through my job, through interviews, and even sometimes in daily life, dare I say it. I know that sounds a bit sad. So I recommend you do the exact same. Start by simply just documenting what you're learning. It doesn't matter if no one reads it or 100,000 people read it. The point is, just put yourself out there and good things will happen. The way I think of a blog is that it's like a passive income generator for your whole career. And the earlier that you can invest in it, the better the payout will be in the long run. I recommend that you start blogging on either Medium or towards data science. That's exactly how I started, and to be honest, it's probably still the easiest and frictionless route to start blogging, particularly in our field. If you want to learn more about how to start writing technical articles, then I recommend this video that I created about a year ago, which breaks down all the platforms, how you should write, how to come up with ideas, and basically how to grow your blog if that's something that you're after. So I'll leave it on screen here for you to check out. Now that you know how to turn your portfolio into an interview magnet, there is just one piece of the puzzle left. How do you actually present them? Most people throw a GitHub link on their resume and just hope for the best. But if you do that, you are missing a huge opportunity to present the business impact of your work. So if you want to learn exactly how to showcase your portfolio on your resume, see this video here. I'll see you there.